What is up, interwebnet people? Gutsy Cosplay coming at you with another build. This time I'm going to be building Yor's weapon from Spy Family. This weapon is based on like a stabbing weapon for an assassin. So I'm not familiar with Spy Family as an anime, but I was flicking through YouTube for possible cosplays we do in the future, and I came across Yor, and I decided I'm going to cosplay. So I need weapons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the things that you need, what you need to do, and how basically to build it. It's really, really simple. This thing costs less than £10 to build a pair of them, and you can get all of the parts from your local craft store. So without further ado, let me get the parts that you're going to need. So first off, for the main body, which is obviously all of this, you are going to need the following. A knitting needle. That's it. That is the main body of the build. The detail work, which I'll bring in here, the detail work, all of this, you'll need one of these, which is one wooden ring. I will grab that. One of these, about 2 inches across, about 5 centimeters in diameter. And for all of this detail work down here, you're going to need the following foams. So let's just move these to one side. Okay, you can stop there for now. You're going to need a sheet of 1mm foam, a sheet of 2mm foam, and a sheet of 3mm foam. Well, a sheet, just like a tiny offcut really. And I will go through the bits that you need to do now. So on your 2mm foam, this is the main section here. These ones with the little indentations on. Okay, you need to cut out a square approximately this big. Now, if I was to get a measurement on this, it's maybe around about 10 centimeters long by about 3 centimeters wide, but obviously we will be doing some trimming. So let me get my knife. Where are you? Right, let me just finish cutting this out. Hopefully I won't make a complete hash of it. Let's cut that out. You don't have to be neat at this point because you will be trimming quite a bit of this. Okay, let's get that. Come on. I said my knife is not the sharpest. You really should sharpen your knives, people. Okay, there we go. There we go, got it. So that's the one piece we're going to need. The second piece we're going to need, the 3mm foam, which is my green one here, is these two large pieces here and here. Now with this one, you just need to, no, sorry, not the green foam, this is the black foam. It's my black foam, this one. So you're going to need a piece which is around about, you can see just the line here, around about maybe 12 centimeters long. But again, we're going to be trimming, so don't worry about the exact lengths. Let's trim that down. And you don't need to be 100% perfect on it. As long as you are pretty accurate, because a lot of things can be covered up with foam or with glue or paint. Okay, so now we've got a piece like that. Okay, so that's that one. And the green one, the green piece, is for this bit here. Let's get that cut out. Where are you? There you are. So this one is around about maybe 5 centimeters long by 1 centimeter wide. Like I said, you will be trimming quite a bit of this off. It's not going to be a major thing as to the exact dimension. You can obviously change them to your personal preferences. I didn't actually mention the needle that I picked up. You can get a set from your local hobbygrapher, so you get 2 needles in a set, around about £5. I picked up 12mm plastic needles. Okay, but I will go through the steps, step by step, what you need to do. Okay, so you take your needle, you cut off the end. I've just filled mine with a little bit of foam, clay, just to fill the endings. You're going to need that to put the ring onto. And what you do is you grab yourself some sandpaper. It's just everyday common garden sandpaper, it doesn't matter what it is, and you just literally just sand it down, just so your paint and your glue have something to grip onto. Okay, there we go. So you can't really see that I've sanded it, but I have. Oh, there you go. You can see I've sanded it. Okay. And then what you do is you take your purple piece, or my purple piece, which is your 1mm foam. Okay. You put a bead of super glue on the top edge, just like this. Not too much, because you will be spreading this around with the knitting needle. Right, then you line it up with the end of your knitting needle, and then let it just drop. Okay, perfect. So I can feel that biting. And then what you do now is you put another little bead of glue down and roll it until it bites. You might notice that I'm actually pressing the top just here just to hold it in place. Okay, so that's rolled. Another bead of glue. A bit more just there. Sorry. The glue that I'm using is standard Loctite super glue. You can use any super glue really, so you can get some from like your local pound store or something like that. So don't worry too much about making your seams neat, because you'll be holding those towards you, so you won't need to worry about them too much. That's a Loki hair, get rid of that. Yeah, Loki hair gets everywhere in this flat. Okay, keep pressing and keep rolling. I think this will be the last one. Okay, right, now I've got to the point now where it's overlapping, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to cut carefully along where the join is. Yeah, I've accidentally glued it a little bit to the table, never mind. Like I said, you can foam and glue can always be covered over and sanded back. Okay, so there you go. So that's now on. And what I'm going to do just quickly is I'm going to just quickly sand that down a little bit, so the glue will, the paint later will stick to it. So the seam area you're going to be holding with your hand anyway, so not too much of a worry with that. Okay. All right. So the next bit we're going to do is we're going to add the details here and here. We're going to add those. So you take the black piece, you do exactly the same thing. You glue it on the seam line and then roll it round. Okay, so I'm going to put a blob of glue just there. I'm going to pop that onto the seam line just there. Make sure you line it up with the edge, because what you're doing here is you're now building up this area so the wooden ring will stick. So exactly the same process. So glue and then roll, glue and then roll, glue and then roll, glue and roll, glue and roll, and that should be the end of that now. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to cut just here where it meets. Get rid of that. Perfect. Okay, so obviously there's a little bit of a seam there, but we are going to be covering that up a little bit later on with the paint and with a little bit of sandpaper. So that's the one. So I'm just going to pause for a second while I do the other one. So I'll be back right just in a moment. Okay, so now I've done that twice. The next piece we're going to do is this green piece here. Again, it's just exactly the same as the other two. A little bit of glue on it and then roll it round the end on the black piece. So again, just line up the seam line just there. Again, you don't have to be massively neat with this. That's now glued on. A little bit of glue there and then roll it round. And then when you've done that, you just trim off the excess See, what I've done there is I've just used the glue a little bit just to roll it into position. Okay, I'm just going to take that little excess off, just bear with me. Just taking it off nice and easy. Also make sure that if you are a youngster and you're doing this, get an adult to help you out if you can. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought just to get that bit off. Perfect. Okay, wonderful. That's come off very nicely. Okay, so that's now the main body. Okay, let's just pop the little lid. There you go. Okay, so now we've got that top piece done. So I'll just show you the bit that I've done. It's just this bit here. Okay, nice and neat. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. Obviously I'm doing this by eye, but it's absolutely fine. Right, the next bit we're going to do is we're going to add a very, very thin bead just around the top edge here, because you can see it on this one just here. Very thin bead along the top edge. So you take a little bit of your spare 1mm foam and you cut a nice thin piece from that. So again, take your time, and with this it's going to be very, very fiddly. I do apologise if I am a little bit silent here, so my knife is not the greatest right now, but we'll get there. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, then what you do is you roll that exactly the same way. So once I've done that, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've cut that piece out, and again with exactly the same technique, what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to run a very thin bead of glue just around the edge. Doesn't need to have too much there, just little dots just to help it stick. That should be fine. Again, right on the line. Sorry, I'm trying to look at it and do it at the same time here. Okay, so then you run that round, glue will hold it, should be absolutely fine. Just roll it round, roll it round, roll it round until it sticks. There we go, spot on. And then just again, just trim off that little bit of excess there. Perfect. Okay, so there you go. So now we've completed that section. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit of sandpaper and take our wooden ring. So sandpaper again, and we're just going to sand off the bottom piece so it's flat. So then what we're going to do is we're going to stick the one to the other, and then that should be the main construction done. Okay, so just bear with me, I'll be right back once I've done the sanding. Okay, so now you can see I've just flattened that end off there. We're going to add a little bit of super glue onto that. So not too much, because it will overspill a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the seam line and the wooden ring so that nice and flat together. Okay, give them a few seconds to bite together. So the reason why I've done this is obviously because you want the ring to point the correct direction when you hold the seam towards you. Right, now that has glued. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a quick bead of glue just on either side just to secure it. This is my own personal preference. You can use contact adhesive, but I found that super glue is pretty good doing that. Okay, so that's now the main body done. So as you can see, there you go, that's both of them. So we don't actually need the glue anymore. That can go away. Okay, what we need to do next is we need to go with what I found with this one is if you actually use the back of the knife blade or the blade from a pair of scissors, what you can do now is you can go down the handle and then add in all of these little ridges. Don't cut too deep because obviously this is only 1mm foam. You only want it for a piece of detail. But you go down there, you put as many or as few as you want, because again your hand's going to be covering for most of the time. And then what you do then is you then spray the whole thing in a coat of black Plastidip. Well, I found Plastidip's quite good. You can use black acrylic paint. If you use black acrylic paint, make sure you cover that in some Modpodge first. I didn't because I use Plastidip, so use Modpodge if you need to. And then do the whole thing over in a couple of layers of your choice of gold. I used one called Gold Leaf from a range called Plastikote. And then after all that's dried, you then get your weapon. So obviously now it's all complete. And the whole thing, like I said, was under £10. So what I'll do is I'll run through the prices of things now. So the knitting needles in a pair were, for me, £4.50. You had the rings, which were £2.50 for a pack of 2. And the foam I had from a scrap box. So you can always ask some friends, like, do you have any spare foam? So that shouldn't cost you more than a couple of pound. And that's pretty much it. So the whole thing costs less than £10. You can do it for two of these. The only thing I won't count is the paint, because I said you can buy cheap acrylic paint if you need to, but they shouldn't cost you more than a couple of pound each. So £10-ish to do a pack of 2. There you go. So that is my build for the weapons that Yor from Spy Family uses. I hope you found this video interesting and found it very useful. If you've got any questions, you can always put up a comment below. But for now, I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles!